in case you guys get confused, Wladimir, Dustin, not the same. You know, you're wearing similar colors.
Lightweight,
Yeah.
What a
heavyweight.
cool combination.
Coordinated.
We can put that out there. I want to start by talking to you guys. I was trying to think of how do I put these two people together
On the same couch.
on the same couch, and I was thinking about
Two
what
opposites.
exactly.
Lightweight and heavyweight.
Yeah. Okay.
Great
He
mind.
retired, but he's actually going to start boxing. You guys, you're going to box?
Great mind and a donkey mind-ish.
All right.
What I came down to is that you were both on a rocket ship, and you both decided to leave. And I think that's really very interesting, this idea that, Dustin, you left Facebook when it seemed like it was, I mean, and it still is, going like this, and you just retired when arguably you are at the top of your game. So were you, take me to that decision. What was that like? Because I think in retrospect that can look like it makes sense, but what was that like when you decided to leave Facebook?
Yeah, so the genesis of Asana is actually that I was the head of engineering at Facebook, and I was faced with the problems of collaboration, and just really needed to figure out how to understand what was going on in my teams, try and keep everyone on the same page. And I actually ended up building an internal tool there to help teams track their work. And the sort of last 6 months that I was at Facebook, I ended up focusing on this tool full time because I was able to see how much impact it was having on the organization. So a lot of what caused me to leave Facebook was really this understanding that this problem I'm solving is universal, and this desire to bring the solution to the rest of the world. Now that said, it was still an incredibly tough decision. As you were saying, Facebook was still growing really quickly, but I just felt like this was a really important idea for the world, especially at the time. I didn't see a lot of other teams trying to solve the same problem, and it just felt like something that I really felt like I needed to do, and that if we didn't take that opportunity, I'd look back and regret it.
Were you afraid?
I don't know if I would use those words quite exactly, but it certainly was a leap of faith, I knew it was going to be a really big journey, and that it was very possible that we could fail, and kind of just had to accept that that was a possible outcome and try anyway.
And how about you? So this is very fresh. This is like it was
3 months.
3 months ago.
You know what? I will mention too what actually you said. A rocket ship. So ships are built not for harbor, but to be out there in the sea, in open water. In a certain way, that's the attitude that probably all here are in a certain way creative minds. We're at the Web Summit. Amazing initiative, by the way. It probably was most difficult decision I have made in my life, because I had to leave my comfort zone. Everything was great. I could have another chance to come back and do it, maybe for a couple of more years. I still got it, by the way. But I made this decision under my terms, my conditions, not because of destiny nailed me on the wall or some other circumstances forced me to stop. I did it to myself, by myself. In a certain way, we're all creative minds, we're fighters. And we choose our battlefields. Today we fight on one battlefield, and then we choose you know what? I'm going to switch it. I'm going to do another career. Even if I'm comfortable where I'm at and what so far achieved, but I will move on. The biggest challenge that we have is time. Since we were born, we need to get to kindergarten, school, university, choose the job, get married, get kids, take care of the kids, time to die. We're limited on time. Since we woke up this morning, we need to be on time because we're going to miss a couple of speakers that we want to hear. And we know the day end or the sunset is going to come up pretty soon, a couple hours. So we need to do more out of our life. And eventually time is going to beat everyone sitting here. But we're trying to beat time in certain positions. Yeah. And that's why I think changing careers and making one career after the other is probably one of the keys in life. And I think it's a challenge that we want to take. And you were talking about being afraid, or you didn't want to call it like being scared or afraid.
Sure.
The worst sense people have, cowardness. it's fine to be afraid or scared even, nervous. It makes you alert, aware, fast, good. You're alive. If you're a coward, you're showing back to the challenge, not face. So you showed face. You have a new challenge. You don't have a problem because challenge is fun, it's optimistic, it's great. So let's have more new challenges in our life, and we're definitely going to make this world a better place. And thankfully to Web Summit, it's about digitalization in the world. Digitalization will help to prevent diseases, to fight corruption, to fight bureaucracy, to take care of children that are in need or people that are in need, refugees, any other issues that we have in this world. Thankfully to digitalization, our understanding is going to get better, even if we speak different languages. It unites us. Politics sometimes divides us, but digitalization of this world uniting us. I know we're under time pressure. As I told you, we have 20 minutes on the stage.
Well, no, you can clap for that. I think that's a good point.
I want to use this moment and say it.
I think it's a very good point, and I like this idea of time. And when you look at what you're doing with your company, it is all about time well spent and helping build a better culture. And I know that's kind of the ethos of this panel. So I'd be interested to know, what do you think is the single most important thing a company can do to build a positive culture? What makes what you guys do unique?
Yeah, so there's, oh man, choosing one thing. I think that I'm going to choose two things, if you don't mind. So one is just intentionality. So I really believe that it's important to think about the kind of culture you want to build right at the beginning, because it takes a lot of energy to actually manifest those intentions, and the larger you get, the harder it is to sort of change things along the way. So I think really the thing I always say, the key to building a great culture is honestly just trying, and also trying to choose the directions that you can be intentional about going in the right way. The second thing is really relates a lot to the Asana mission, which is really establishing clarity of purpose, plan, and responsibility. So starting again with being intentional about the mission you choose, understanding why that company exists, why it's important to be an entrepreneur and start it in the world, why each person should come to work, and then really understanding what each person's role is in pursuing that mission, and exactly how you're going to go about it. So a lot of what Asana does is help you achieve, especially that clarity of plan and responsibility.
But what do you mean just trying? Because I know a lot of founders in Silicon Valley who are trying, and you have a horrific culture sometimes for women in many situations, as we're seeing. You see what's happened at Uber with a lot of people leaving. Yeah. A lot of people are leaving Twitter right now. It's actually, I think, harder than just trying. So give me something specific. What do you mean when you say just trying?
Well, I'd call it a necessary but not sufficient condition. And again, it's really about that trying at the beginning. A lot of these cultures, especially that have, end up having sexism or harassment, a lot of it is that those things just sort of happen through path dependence or because of who they hired in the beginning. And by the time they recognize it as a real problem and then start to try to address it, things have already gone quite far. You might already have, in those cases, thousands of employees. And then you're really, it's an almost Sisyphean task to try and overcome that. So really it's about the trying at the beginning of like, what kind of culture do we want to have? When we started Asana, one of the clear values that we established was wanting to be, radically inclusive. And so, really building in that from the beginning, talking about it, thinking about it in terms of who we are hiring. And, I can't say that we did a stellar job creating a much more diverse workplace than a lot of the other companies in tech, but I do think that the people we've hired are just a lot more mindful, a lot more empathetic, and that just is a sort of positive feedback loop.
How do you, so now your second act is you're investing, you're helping companies build better culture. How do you take what you learned in the ring, kind of this fighting mentality, aggression maybe, and how do you apply that to building a successful company culture?
Well, I will try to put it a little bit closer together, and I would put it in 5 steps that I've created with challenge management, and probably it's going to find a unity in this case, how I'm approaching things, because we're different characters, we have different backgrounds, but we have one thing. What is our goal? Where are we moving to? What do we want to achieve? What's the consequences of the goal if I will achieve it and get it in my hands or not? What's the imagination when I'm going to achieve this goal? Because whatever we talk about, we're going to forget about it, probably in 2 days, 50%, and in a week, 70, in a year, to 90% or more over. But images will always remain for a longer period of time. So you need to imagine what it's going to look like. Myself, family, my company, my country, the world. You cannot do it alone because self-made doesn't exist. So we need allies to reach our goal. Even your competitors could be your allies, direct competitors. I will compare it to the sport of boxing where I'm coming from, and I just fought recently Anthony Joshua, current champion. He used to be my sparring partner. 3 years ago, he was preparing me for my next event and match. So my direct competitor was making me better. And the final and last step, it's an extreme shape of it. It's love with a goal. Be obsessed with your goal. If you're obsessed about the goal and your obstacle, means eventually you will reach it. Because you will not sleep, you will think about it, you will try to actually make it all happen because you're obsessed with that. So it's an extreme shape of love, but it's important.
What are you obsessed with these days, Dustin? Because last time you guys got obsessed with something, there was Facebook, now there's Asana. So, like, what are you obsessed with?
I think in the context of Asana, just really trying to solve the problem of helping teams achieve clarity. I think today, it's almost tragic that especially knowledge workers, people who work in offices, their lives are really just consumed by work about work. Giving status updates, tracking down information somebody else has. Research shows that they actually spend 60% of their time on that, and so we're really obsessed with trying to reduce that. It's kind of it's both inefficient for the companies, obviously, but it's also very just demoralizing and dehumanizing for the individuals to be spending so much of their energy on that sort of thing. So I'm obsessed with trying to create a more positive work environment, make those teams more effective, and also just make the lives better for the people on that are inside those companies. I also just want to really second this idea that Vlad said about really seeing everyone as your ally, including your competitors. That's something we talk about a lot at Asana. I don't know if there are any like Byron Katie fans in the audience or Conscious Leadership Group. Yeah, got one over there. Great. But just really sort of changing your perspective on, rather than seeing people that might be causing struggles in your life as opposition or just in your way, is really seeing them as an opportunity to learn something, and really just sort of taking that sort of point of view on how can this person make me better? What are they here to teach me?
And in a certain way, it's called also competition, where companies cooperate with each other and making something better together.
Totally.
That's a very mature attitude, right? But it's interesting to see that people in the top percentile do feel that way and look at that. So you looked at your competitors as people just who make you better.
Absolutely. If you want to be better, work with the best.
Was there one though?
As simple as it is.
Was there one that you just kind of didn't look at like that?
No, actually, I do look like. I do look at things like that, and also I think I can share it with you guys, and especially with people that I'm facing and people facing us right now. I think it's very important in these creative minds, and there are some founders, executives at the companies, and I think it's very important to have these qualities of acting without compromises and being egotistical. What? It's so negative. No, it's not actually, because you have to put it in perspective to think and take things multidimensional, not mono. So compromises cost you time. Compromises are making something worse with you. They're putting you out of your target, out of your goal. Every compromise, you're losing time, and your goal is just getting lost. If you're egotistical, it doesn't mean bad if you think multidimensional. We flew, all of us, not just in private jets, but commercial airlines. And we've seen that video when pressure in the cabin drops, oxygen masks drop as well. And next to you sitting a child. What are you doing? You're helping yourself first, and then you help the child. It's about longevity. So if you feel great about yourself and you load it with energy, you can just give it. You can serve the society. You can help. Longevity is a very important key. That's why being an act without compromises, being egotistical, doesn't mean negative if you think about it multidimensional.
Yeah.
That's my perspective.
When we look at the future, and I know you know a lot of the people helping build out the future too in Silicon Valley, we're at a moment where automation will take jobs, where we're all wondering about the implications of artificial intelligence, and where tech has this incredible power to pull us apart or bring us together. Do you think, and we talk a lot about values and building a culture kind of from the beginning, do you think that the companies in your own backyard have the correct values baked in to take on some of these huge challenges?
I think the vast majority of them do. I think a lot of the narratives around Silicon Valley and around individual tech companies, people like to paint this sort of black and white picture. They're either heroes or they're villains. And I think the reality is a lot more nuanced than that. Most of the companies in Silicon Valley are both good and bad. I like to quote Naomi Gleit, who's the VP of Social Good at Facebook. She says, technology isn't intrinsically good or bad. And our job as technologists is really to maximize the good, minimize the bad. I think that is the clear intention of the vast majority of entrepreneurs. They don't always do it well. They don't always do it as quickly as we'd like or as diligently as we'd like. But I think we're going in a pretty positive direction. And I think there's a rising tide of people caring about this impact, setting purpose from the beginning that is world positive, and really trying to optimize the outcomes of the individual companies they're building.
I believe, Dustin, that there are certainly people afraid of digitalization, new technologies.
Yeah.
Something that is unknown, I don't understand it, it's too complex. Well, it is, but it's simple also to use because it was made by men for men. Mm-hmm. And of course, there are always some side effects, maybe not that positive in a certain way, but eventually, we need to, it's a progress. So we need to, today we think different than yesterday. Our technology is better than yesterday. It's like when you were 50, think like you were 20, you lost 30 years of your life. So we need to be always, as a software, up to date.
Yeah.
And if there are certainly some negativity or sides that are as negative side effects are, then it's going to be fixed. It's going to be, get in a better way. Just be open-minded, in my opinion, and let your software up to date all the time. Go with the time, I guess.
Sure, we need to.
You're going to stay still, you're going to fall back. So it's always moving forward.
Sure.
Tell me about your second act and how we know how you are known now. How do you want to be known?
I'm Wladimir Klitschko. Nice to meet you. I just want to share my expertise and my experience with people. And I see it with the study course that I explained about. It's going to be third year, and those executives that I talk to or sharing with professors of the university, and from practical standpoint, from other people that are involved in the study course, I feel that participants are someone that screams for help. I need those tools, I need knowledge how to handle challenges or problems in life. And that's what I say, I don't have problems in life, I have challenges, because it's much more optimistic, it's fun. It's fun to handle and manage it. And it's great if you can change people's life in a better way and can give them tools and experiences that I've collected almost in 30 years of being a professional athlete or an athlete in combination with amateurs. And it's just something that if it's needed and I see I can change it, I'll do it. I will continue. I will dedicate myself to it.
You guys are both, well known for the things you've done, and I think a lot of people can look and say that's success. I'd be curious to know what role failure has played in your lives.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I think it's a learning opportunity, right? So like, not only how can you see competitors or maybe enemies as an ally in your life, but how can you see failure as an ally in your life? And if you, just encounter that kind of, problem and don't take anything from it, then you're at the effect of that failure. Whereas if you take something from it, then it's a growth opportunity.
Is there something you can look at specifically where you can say, well, I failed, but that ended up being a pretty good thing?
I'm not sure there's anything that comes to mind that's a packageable anecdote like that, but maybe Vlad could answer his version.
You have a couple failures. Yeah, have you failed?
Failure is the great lesson. Come on, guys. We were not only successful, so we had made our experiences. We were facing challenges where we were not cowards and showing back. So it's okay, it's fine to be nervous, but not turning back, as I explained it previously. I had this slogan, failure is not an option. As JFK said, before Apollo took off to the moon, failure is not an option. That was the slogan actually of my team. And then I lost. My actually last fight, I lost. But I understood that actually failure with obsession is an option, because I didn't win the titles, but I won so much.
What did you win?
I won so much of respect, understanding of my dedication, understanding of my obsession. It's very difficult to explain if you didn't watch the match, but you can do it. Thanks to
I didn't watch the match. Of course I watched the
digitalization.
match.
And you will understand more. And I think being afraid of failures, it's wrong. Look at the history. Columbus was on the way to India. Suddenly, he discovered North America, and now we have Trump. So think about Post-it or super glue. It's supposed to be artificial glass. Think about those scientists that dedicated their life to improve humans' heart. Now we have Viagra. They failed. And what happened actually is a side effect of a failure. There are new products that all of us use. There is, if you think, I can give you another comparison, like a poisoned snake. Well, it's a poison, death. Well, but if you put it partially, you can make sick people healthy. So it's all in moderation. In moderation, it helps actually to improve society, improve ourselves. And little failures or failures here and there with obsession is absolutely fine.
Since you made a comment about how I didn't watch the match, I'm going to pretend like I don't know enough about sports to ask this next question and not make eye contact with you when I ask it, in case it's the wrong question to ask. So you announced you were retiring. This is a 21-year career after you were beat by Anthony Joshua. So if you won, would you have retired?
No way! Guys, you won't believe me. I don't want to change even if I could. If I'll be Superman, I could change the end of the fight so that I won the titles back. I had so much success in the past years, and I never won by losing so much, never. And I wouldn't change it, because now I'm experiencing something very valuable that even I'm talking about it right now. So I wouldn't definitely change it. I just want to keep it the way it is. My heart and my soul is in peace because I passed the torch to Joshua, and he's a great representative of the sport. And don't forget, I mean, age is just the number, but I'm 41. I can last and do certain things just for a certain period of time. And now is the time to change the careers and get to something new. As Dustin said, you know what? I've done it. I want to have a new challenge. That's my battlefield. I'm dedicated to it, even if I'm probably going to have a couple of mistakes mistakes. I'm going to make a couple of mistakes. It's okay. But you're passionate about it. You're obsessed with it. You love it. You're in love with it, certainly. That's what it comes across. So it's fine. Any of us is or capable of doing the same.
And Dustin, what advice, having co-founded Facebook and Asana, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs in the audience who want to build something special, who want to create a culture that cultivates success?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just repeat what I said before about the importance of intentionality, really having clarity about what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do it, why you think it's important to start a new company to do that, and also the way you want that company to manifest, what your culture will be, what your values will be, the kind of people you want to hire, just really thinking about that stuff as much as possible, having mindfulness, intentionality, clarity.
Great, and I know we got to wrap, so really quick, you talk a lot about purpose, values. If you could do it quick, what do you think your purpose is?
Well, the mission of Asana is to help humanity thrive by enabling all teams to collaborate effortlessly. I also have a philanthropic foundation. Its mission is to help humanity thrive. I think of Facebook's mission, they don't state it this way, but I think of it as to help humanity thrive by helping connect the world. And so that's really the sort of common denominator across all of these.
Great, and we got to wrap, so last word, what is your purpose?
My purpose is I'm the front man of the Klitschko brand, and in 2, 3, 5 to 10 years I want to be on the background, and the products of the brand need to be in the front. And I also want to mention and use this time that, guys, keep on digitalize the world. We're going to make this world a better place because we are the driving force.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.